Visualize this. A courtyard at dusk. Children run in circles. Mothers prepare food. Fathers return from the fields, and in the middle of it all sits an elder, smiling. Here, among the Bai people of China, aging is not loneliness. It is belonging. For the Bai, an elder is not a burden to be tucked away, but the very heartbeat of the home. They sit at the center, not at the edges. Their stories flow into every conversation, their advice guides decisions, and their presence keeps the family stitched together like silk threads in a tapestry. While much of the modern world turns old age into isolation, nursing homes, hospices, quiet rooms filled with forgotten memories, the Bai keep their elders firmly within the rhythm of life. To them, grandparents are not just caretakers of the past. They are the bridge to wisdom, the living guardians of identity. The Bai live in the Yunnan province of China, surrounded by mountains, rivers, and fields of rice that sway like an endless sea. Life here is slower, rooted in cycles of farming, festivals, and the rhythm of nature. And at the center of these cycles, the elder is always present. Morning begins with tea. A Bai grandmother may sit by the low wooden table, brewing pu'er tea in clay cups, her hands steady from decades of practice. Around her, children gather, not because they must, but because they want to hear her stories. Tales of the village, of seasons long past, of ancestors who walked the same stone paths. To the Bai, storytelling is more than memory, it is education, history, and the weaving of identity from one generation to the next. Elders here rarely eat alone. Meals are shared, laughter spills across courtyards, and even silence is comfortable because it is shared silence. When an elder walks through the marketplace, they are greeted with respect, not overlooked. Wrinkles are not seen as decay but as maps of experience, proof that this person has lived, and therefore knows. Compare this with modern cities, where speed often replaces presence, where youth is celebrated, and age becomes invisible. In the Bai community, the opposite is true. Age amplifies value. The older you become, the more central you are to the story of the family. One of the most beautiful aspects of Bai culture is how the home itself is designed to honor togetherness. A typical Bai courtyard house is built with balance in mind. The family altar sits at the center, facing the main entrance, symbolizing respect for ancestors and harmony between generations. Elders often have their rooms closest to the courtyard, a place of honor where the sounds of life, children playing, water splashing from the well, the aroma of meals cooking, flow naturally around them. In this way, they are never isolated. Their lives remain woven into the daily fabric of the family. When important decisions must be made, whether it is about planting crops, arranging marriages, or settling disputes, the eldest member of the family or village is consulted first. Wisdom is not an abstract idea here. It is a lived reality, earned through hardship, seasons, and years. Their voice carries weight not because of authority, but because of trust. To be old in Bai culture is not to be retired from life, but to be deeply engaged in it. Festivals also play an essential role in preserving this closeness. During the Torch Festival, for example, families gather in the open air, lighting great bonfires that symbolize warding off evil and inviting blessings. Elders lead the rituals, passing down chants, songs, and dances that would be forgotten without them. In these moments, children do not just see their grandparents as caretakers, they see them as guardians of culture, the bridge between past and future. It is no wonder then that loneliness is rare. To be a Bai elder is to belong every single day. You are not placed in a nursing home, separated from the life you helped build. Instead, you are the anchor, the hearth around which generations gather, the flame that warms the community. To truly understand why the Bai never abandon their elders, you must look beyond the visible traditions, the festivals, the homes, the family gatherings, and step into the spiritual heart of their worldview. For the Bai, life is not linear. It is circular. Each generation is not a separate branch that grows away, but a ring in a tree's trunk, connected, expanding, and dependent on what came before. Ancestors are not gone. They are ever present, guiding and protecting the living. Elders, then, are seen as the closest bridge to these ancestors. To neglect them would be to weaken the connection between the living and the unseen guardians of the family. Nature itself plays a role in this philosophy. Living by the Arai Lake and surrounded by mountains, the Bai have always seen their lives as bound to the rhythms of the earth, planting, harvesting, and resting according to the seasons. Elders embody this wisdom. They are like the old trees by the lake, weathered, rooted, steady. You do not cut down such trees, you shelter beneath them. There is also a deep sense of reciprocity. Parents raise children, not expecting abandonment in return, but trust in a cycle of care. When a child becomes strong, they care for the ones who once carried them. This is not seen as a burden, but as balance. In Bai philosophy, harmony is the ultimate virtue. And harmony is impossible if the old are cast aside while the young rush forward alone. Because of this worldview, aging is not feared among the Bai. Wrinkles are not marks of decline, they are maps of memory, proof of a life that still enriches others. A Bai elder may walk slower, their voice softer, but their place in the circle of life only grows stronger. To sit with them is to sit with history, with wisdom, with continuity. In one quiet Bai village nearer the Arai Lake, there lives an elder named Grandmother Yun. At 93, her back is slightly bent, her steps slower than they once were, but her presence radiates strength. Every morning, before the sun lifts over the lake, her granddaughter walks her to the courtyard, where Yun sits with a cup of warm tea and watches the mist drift across the water. In many parts of the world, someone her age might be confined to a nursing home, her days passing in silence, her stories left untold. But here, the scene is different. Around her, children run, their laughter filling the air. Neighbors stop by with baskets of vegetables, not only to share food, but to ask her advice. Which herbs soothe a fever? What prayers should be whispered for good harvest? Yun does not live alone. 3 generations share her household. Her eldest son built his house so that its windows face hers, close enough that she can wave from her seat. Her daughters cook beside her whenever they visit, learning her recipes as they laugh. Her grandchildren, some now young adults, return from school and work not just to visit, but to sit and listen. They record her stories on their phones, treasuring the sound of her voice as much as any photograph. When she tells of her childhood, the festivals, the rituals, the hardships of war and rebuilding, silence falls around her. These are not just stories, they are instructions for how to live. She carries not only her years, but the spirit of those who came before. To the Bai, this makes her invaluable, a living link in the chain of existence. And Yun feels it. She often says, "I am never lonely, because I live in the middle of life." To her, every wrinkle is not the end of youth but a thread in the tapestry of family. She is not waiting to be forgotten, she is woven into daily life, into memory, and into the future. Every season in Bai villages carries its own rhythm of togetherness. Festivals are not simply celebrations, they are living threads that tie the young and the old together. Take the March Fair, one of the Bai's most cherished traditions. For a full week, families gather at the foot of Tsongshan Mountain. Elders sit in shaded pavilions while children dart between stalls of herbs, silks, and foods. The younger ones bring offerings to their grandparents, a cup of sweet rice wine, a bowl of noodles, gestures of respect that say, "You are still the root of this family." During these festivals, elders are not pushed aside. They are placed at the heart of the gathering. Their voices lead the songs, their hands bless the rituals, their presence gives weight to the celebration. Without them, the festival would feel incomplete, like a story missing its beginning. Even in smaller, everyday rituals, the Bai sustain this bond. At mealtime, elders are served first. Before planting or harvesting, families consult them for guidance. Weddings are incomplete without their blessing, funerals without their wisdom. In this way, Bai elders remain woven into every turning point of life, not as outsiders looking in, but as pillars holding up the community. To the Bai, age is not decline, it is elevation. Each wrinkle, each gray hair, is like a medal of honor, earned through decades of living in harmony with the land and people. Where some societies see frailty, the Bai see sacredness. What does it do to the heart, to the mind, when you are never left behind? In many modern societies, loneliness has become a silent epidemic, especially among the elderly. Studies show that isolation can shorten life expectancy as much as smoking or obesity. But among the Bai, this burden is almost unknown. Why? Because the very structure of their community protects against it. For a Bai elder, waking up means knowing that today, someone will knock on their door. A grandchild will ask them for a story, a neighbor will share fresh vegetables, or a festival will call them to the village square. Their voices matter, their presence is expected. They are seen. They are heard. They are needed. Psychologists call this a sense of purpose, but for the Bai, it is simply life. They never retire from society. Instead, they grow into their role as guides and keepers of memory. And in this role, loneliness finds no place to take root. Even grief is softened by community. When a Bai elder loses a spouse, they are not left in solitude. Relatives move closer, neighbors cook meals, grandchildren sit at their side. Sorrow is carried not by one, but by many. The heart is never left to heal alone. It is this emotional safety net, invisible but unbreakable, that helps Bai elders thrive into their 80s, 90s, and beyond, without fear of abandonment. In much of the modern world, aging is often framed as decline. Elders are cared for, but in systems, nursing homes, hospices, and retirement villages. And while these places may provide safety and medical care, something is often missing: the heartbeat of community. In these modern settings, meals are scheduled, activities are designed, and yet, many elders describe a quiet ache of loneliness. The walls are clean, but the silence is heavy. Care exists, but connection fades. Now, let's step back into a Bai village. Here, there are no facilities for the old, because the entire village is their home. Elders are not moved away from the heart of life. They remain in it. Their advice is sought. Their presence is woven into festivals, farming, and storytelling. They are not treated as patients to be managed, but guardians of memory and teachers of resilience. The difference is striking. One model organizes care, the other cultivates belonging. One meets physical needs, the other nourishes the soul. And perhaps this is why Bai elders so rarely face the despair of abandonment. For them, to grow old is not to fade away, but to be embraced more deeply. The Bai people remind us of something the modern world often forgets. Aging is not an illness, but a stage of wisdom. Elders are not burdens, but living libraries of experience. And community, true community, is the medicine that keeps loneliness at bay. Science now confirms what the Bai have always known: belonging can extend life. Studies reveal that elders who remain socially connected suffer fewer illnesses, recover faster, and even live longer. The body heals when the heart feels seen. The mind sharpens when the soul feels loved. Perhaps this is the hidden wisdom we are being called to remember. We don't need more institutions, we need more circles. We don't need more management, we need more connection. We need to reclaim the lost art of gathering around our elders, of listening, of holding them close. Because in the end, the true measure of a society is not how it treats its powerful, but how it cares for its aging hearts. So the question is, what kind of circle are we building? And when we grow old, will we find ourselves surrounded by silence or by love? If you feel inspired by this lifelong secret of the Bai people, we invite you to join our community where we rediscover ancient wisdom, build circles of belonging, and never walk alone. Hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, so you don't miss out on more ancient secrets shared on this channel. Subscribe now.